In this video tutorial, we will examine in a closer fashion a verb's person and a verb's number. The reason both of these elements are studied together instead of separately is because they are functionally interwoven together, as one does not work without the other. In review, these characteristics both define who performs an action and how many subjects a verb possesses. Let's look at a simple graph to better understand how a verb's person and number are identified. There are three types of persons available to Latin verbs, equivalent to the English I, you, or he, she, or it. And there are two types of numbers, either singular or plural. All of these options should be immediately familiar to you because English uses an equivalent system. For the first person singular, we have I. The second person singular is you. The third person singular is he, she, or it. Whereas the plural forms, the first person plural is we. The second person plural is you all or y'all. In the third person, English uses they. In Latin, just like in English, different numbers and persons cause verbs to change their endings. Therefore, the first person singular Latin verb for I like is amo. The second person singular is amas. The third person singular is amat. Whereas the plural form, first person plural, we have amamus. Second person plural, we have amatis. Last yet not least, the third person plural is amant. Now, you may be wondering why the first person variant has the vowel O appended to the end, whereas the second and third persons do not. And why the respective options have a different ending consonant. We have an S and a T at the end of the second person singular and third person singular forms. We will examine the vowel differences in a later video, where this is an O and these remaining options are A's. Although the consonant changes are relevant now, just like how English puts an S at the end of the third person singular verb, so Latin adds a T. The only slight difference is classical Latin also adds an S at the end of second person singular verbs, whereas in English, the first and second person singular versions are identical. For example, there's no difference in conjugation between saying I like and you like. These verb forms are identical, despite they belong to different persons. In review, we briefly explored the nature of a verb's person and number and their respective combinations and spelling differences.